Hi, 7th graders. We're on lesson 9-4, part 2, or day 2, which starts on page 482. We're going to start on example 3. Our learning target is calculating the slope when given 2 points on a line. So we already know how to find the slope if we're given a picture or a graph. This time we will be given a table and 2 points to find the slope of. So remember, slope is rise over run, which is also the change in y over change in x. So if we're given points, x1, y1, and x2, y2, we take the change of the y's over the change in the x's. And slope is always referred to as m. So once we start using it in equations, m is always going to represent our slope. So our slope formula, which doesn't mean make that sense right now to you, you can copy down y. This should be a small 2, so a y small 2 minus y1. We would say y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So find the slope of the line that passes through each pair of points. So if we have 2, 2 and 5, 3, I'm going to label this as this is x1, this is y1, this is x2, and this is y2. Okay, so see how it's kind of like our first pair of points. We have an x and a y. We're labeling them as 1s. And our second point still has an x and a y, but those are our 2s. So our formula is y2 minus y1. So we take 3 minus 2, this 3 minus this 2, over this 5 minus 2. So note that I'm starting, because we're subtracting, order does matter. So we're starting with our second pair of points. So we always would go 3 minus 2 and then 5 minus 2. So we have to make sure we do it in the correct order. 3 minus 2 is 1. 5 minus 2 is 3. So our slope is 1/3. Okay? We have x1, y1, x2, y2. So y2 minus y1, negative 3 minus 1, and then x2 minus x1, 0 minus negative 2. Negative 3 minus 1 is negative 4. 0 minus negative 2 would be chop, chop. So negative 4 divided by 2 equals negative 2. So the slope of that line would be negative 2. Okay? Pause and find the slope of these 2 points. So we would have negative 2 minus negative 4 over negative 3 minus negative 7. Chop, 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 chop. Negative 2 plus 4 equals 2. Negative 3 plus 7 equals 4. So we have 1/2. Super important to do the chop, chop so you subtract or add correctly. If, for say, I wanted to do it in a different order, or sometimes you're given 2 points and you're not sure which one is x1 and y1 and which one is x2 and y2. So we always, always, always take the difference of our y's over the difference of our x's. So say we do it in a different order. If I did negative 4 minus negative 2, and then negative 7 minus negative 3, okay, we can flip around the order as long as we flip it around for our y and our x. So you can see here our point -3 and -3, -2. So they match up right on top of each other. Same with our -4 and -7. Here, -4, -7, -2, -3. So if I'm going to switch one, I have to switch them both for the order that I'm subtracting. So -4, chop, chop, plus 2 would be -2. -7 plus 3 would be -4. A negative over a negative cancels out, and then we simplify, and we still get 1/2. Okay, so like I was trying to explain, because I see this happen all the time. Sometimes students will do -2 minus -4, which is correct because you're taking your y2 minus your y1. But then they'll do, instead of -3 minus -7, we'll do -7 minus -3 because they forget that the order matters. So -2 minus -4 is 2. -7 minus -3 is -4. So then we would end up with -1/2, and that is not correct. Okay, so that is what happens if you switch up the order. All right, if we have a table of values and we want to find the slope from it, so you can see that we're given a bunch of x values and a bunch of y values. And just like from a previous lesson, when we're given a table, we can tell that we have points here because we have -6, -2, that's 1 point. -2, -1 is a point, 2, 0, 6, 1. We can look and we can see the difference, or we can look at the difference between our x values and our y values. So we can see to get from -6 to -2, we are adding 4. -2 to 2, we are also adding 4. 2 to 6, adding 4. Okay, -2 to -1, we are adding 1. -1 to 0 is 1, and then 0 to 1 is 1. So we would take the change in y, remember, change in y, sorry, I'm slow with my writing, over change in x. So you might want to write this down in your notebook as I'm writing it, because you need to remember which goes on top and which goes on the bottom. So we're changing in y by adding 1 every time. We're changing in x by adding 4 every time. So our slope then is 1/4. Pause and do this next table on your own, and then come back and check. So here again, we're adding 4. Adding 4. And adding 4. This time on the bottom, we are subtracting 1, subtracting 1, subtracting 1. So we take the change in the y, -1, change in the x, 4. So our slope then is -1/4. Log into NICU and do the 9-4 day 2 NICU quiz. We are done with 9-4, so if you would like to go back and review how to find the slope from a picture, a graph, 2 points, or a table, please make sure you look in your textbook and refresh yourself. And have a super evening, and I will see you tomorrow.